MX Jordan Reeves had been running Little Stars Daycare for 3 years, and they'd seen some things. Tentacle-related glue disasters, crystal growth experiments gone exponentially wrong. That one time a Plixie kid had figured out how to hack the methane containment field and nearly asphyxiated everyone. The usual. What they had not expected was for the hardest part of their job to become armed mercenary invasion during craft time. Zixik, no, Jordan said patiently, watching the small Quillix child attempt to eat paste for the 4th time that morning. We don't eat the glue. Yes, I know it smells good to Quillix noses. That's the whole problem with glue, isn't it? Zixik's tentacles drooped in disappointment. Around the daycare, 15 alien children were engaged in what Jordan generously called controlled chaos, and everyone else called a diplomatic incident waiting to happen. 3 Quillix kids were attempting macaroni art, and by attempting, Jordan meant carefully placing each piece before eating it. 4 Vrin children sat in the crystal growing station, their crystalline bodies refracting rainbow light across the walls as they hummed in harmony to encourage growth. 5 Plixie kids worked in their specialized methane chamber, creating atmosphere art that looked beautiful and would probably kill everyone else in the room. 3 Thoral children clicked and chittered while building an elaborate block tower with their 6 legs. It was beautiful, chaotic, exactly what Jordan had signed up for. Then the station shook. Not the gentle vibration of docking procedures, the violent boom of something exploding where it absolutely shouldn't. Alarms started blaring, red lights flashed. The pleasant station AI voice that usually reminded them about hand-washing turned into something much more urgent. Hostile boarding detected. Multiple breaches. All personnel evacuate to designated safe zones. This is not a drill. The children looked up, various appendages frozen mid-craft. Jordan's first thought was professional. Great. Right before snack time. Kids are going to be impossible if their blood sugar drops. Their second thought was slightly more appropriate. We're about to have a very bad day. Okay, everyone, Jordan said, voice steady despite their heart trying to escape their chest. Emergency protocol time. Remember what we practiced? 15 small head/crystal structures/tentacle clusters nodded. Good. Line up by the daycare door exploded inward. 12 figures poured through the smoke. Kraith mercenaries, reptilian, heavily armored, and carrying weapons that hummed with barely contained violence. Their leader, scales scarred and metals gleaming, surveyed the room with cold calculation. Captain Vralkesh, according to the designation on his armor. His eyes found the Vrin children. Specifically, the one wearing a small diplomatic sash, the Vrin ambassador's offspring. Surrender the ambassador's child, Vralkesh announced, voice, like gravel in a blender. Or we take them all. Jordan stood up from where they'd been helping a Quillix with macaroni placement. They were wearing an apron covered in finger paint, glue, and what might have been lunch from Tuesday. Their hair was held back with a scrunchie that had googly eyes glued to it, craft project from last week. They looked at the heavily armed mercenaries, then at the children, then back at the mercenaries. Yeah, Jordan said flatly. That's not happening. Vralkesh's scales rippled, Kraith equivalent of a dismissive laugh. You're going to stop us? One human? Kids, Jordan said, not taking their eyes off the mercenaries. Lockdown protocol. Behind me. Now. To their credit, the children moved immediately. 15 little beings of various species scurried behind Jordan's legs, forming a huddle that Jordan's body blocked from the mercenaries. Vralkesh looked genuinely confused. You're protecting them? They're not even your species. They're children, Jordan replied, as if this explained everything. Because it did. You're a prey species protecting predator species young. Vralkesh's confusion was turning to something like fascination. That makes no evolutionary sense. You've got 5 seconds to leave before this gets messy, Jordan said calmly. The mercenaries looked at each other, at Jordan, at the children. Then they started laughing. One human, Vralkesh repeated, raising his plasma rifle. Against 12 armed warriors. You're either brave or insane. Jordan's hand drifted to the craft table. Fingers closed around the safety scissors. 3, Jordan said. This is your last 2. You can't possibly. 1. Jordan moved. Later, analysts would study the footage from the daycare's security feeds. They'd write papers about reaction time, improvised weapon use, and the apparent absence of self-preservation instinct. What they'd miss was the simple truth. Jordan wasn't thinking about survival. They were thinking about the 15 kids behind them who needed snacks in 20 minutes and had already had their schedule disrupted enough. Thank you very much. The first mercenary went down to a glue gun. The hot kind, the one Jordan used for advanced projects. At close range, superheated adhesive to the face was effective. The second discovered that building blocks, when thrown hard enough, absolutely could cause a concussion, especially the wooden ones. Jordan had good aim. 3 years of helping Thorol children with their 6-armed coordination exercises paid off. Paint became a blinding agent. Macaroni scattered across the floor became caltrops that Kraith feet were definitely not designed for. Staplers became impact weapons. The xylophone became a club. Jordan fought like someone who'd watched every nature documentary about cornered animals and taken notes. Feral, creative, absolutely unhinged. Behind them, a small Thorol voice chirped, "Mr. Jordan is doing violence." "It's called self-defense, sweetie," Jordan called back, using a mercenary's own rifle as a lever to flip him over their shoulder. "Very different. We'll discuss it during circle time." "Will there be juice boxes?" a Plixie child asked from their methane chamber. "Yes, Pixtal. There will be juice boxes." Jordan blocked a punch, used the momentum to slam a mercenary's head into the reading corner bookshelf. "We always have juice boxes after emergencies. It's in the parent handbook." 3 mercenaries down. The remaining 9 were backing up, actually frightened of the human with safety scissors and a smile that promised escalating violence. Vralkesh stared at Jordan, at his fallen soldiers, at the human who was bleeding from several places but still standing between him and the children. You're not doing this for money," he said slowly. "Or orders. Or strategy." "Congratulations," Jordan panted, wiping blood from their lip. "You've discovered empathy. Little late, but points for trying. You actually care about these alien spawn." "They're not spawn. They're kids." Jordan's voice went hard. "They have names. Favorite colors. Songs they like. Dreams about what they want to be. Zixik wants to be a pilot. Crystal wants to study music. Pixtal wants to open a restaurant." Vralkesh's weapon lowered slightly. "But they're not your species. Doesn't matter. You could die protecting them. Don't care." That's insane." Jordan smiled. It wasn't friendly. "Maybe. But I'm the one standing between you and them. And station security is still..." They checked the wall clock. 9 minutes out, so we've got time. They raised the safety scissors. "Who's next?" The mercenaries looked at each other, at their fallen comrades, at the bleeding, paint-covered human who should have been easy prey and was instead the most terrifying thing they'd encountered. At the children huddled behind Jordan, safe because one human had decided they were worth fighting for. Vralkesh realized something that would later reshape Galactic understanding of humanity. This wasn't tactical, wasn't trained response, wasn't even rational. This was a human protecting something they'd bonded with. And that made them infinitely more dangerous than any soldier. "Fall back," he ordered quietly. "Sir?" one mercenary questioned. "I said fall back." But Jordan was already moving forward, because 9 minutes was still too long, and these kids needed to be safe now. The fight wasn't over. It was just getting started. The toy xylophone made a surprisingly effective club. Jordan discovered this while introducing the 5th mercenary's face to Middle C. The musical ding as it connected was almost comedic. Almost. "Everyone still okay back there?" Jordan called, not taking their eyes off the remaining mercenaries. "Yes, Mr. Jordan," came a chorus of responses. "Good. Eyes closed during the stabby parts, please." "Is this the stabby part?" a small Vrin voice asked. "Getting there. Crystal. Getting there." Jordan had moved beyond improvisation into what could only be described as creative violence. Modeling clay, still wet, became an adhesive trap, slapped onto a mercenary's visor, blinding him before Jordan swept his legs. The craft scissors finally broke. Poor structural integrity, would need better supplies next quarter. So Jordan switched to a ruler. Turns out the metal edge worked great for pressure points. 6 mercenaries down now. 9 total. The remaining 3 were huddled by the door, weapons lowered, looking at Jordan like they'd just witnessed something that violated several natural laws, which, from their perspective, they had. "Last chance," Jordan said, breathing hard. They were definitely bleeding from somewhere. Multiple somewheres. Adrenaline was doing great work ignoring that. "You can walk out, or I can introduce you to nap-time consequences." "Nap-time consequences," Vralkesh repeated weakly. "You don't want to know." Jordan's smile was terrifying specifically because it was genuine. "Trust me, the 5-year-olds don't even want to know." The mercenaries looked at each other, at their unconscious comrades, at the human covered in paint, blood, and an expression that promised creative violence. They dropped their weapons. "Smart choice," Jordan said. That's when station security finally arrived. Security Chief Kristallix was a Vryn who'd seen combat. Real combat. Military grade, 3-system war, decoration-earning combat. He was not prepared for this. The daycare looked like a disaster had mated with a craft explosion. Paint everywhere. Macaroni ground into the floor. Building blocks scattered like caltrops. Glue. So much glue. 9 Kraith mercenaries unconscious or groaning in various states of really regretting life choices. 15 alien children safe in the corner, huddled around. "What? How? You're a childcare worker." Kristallix's crystalline structure was literally vibrating with confusion. Jordan, sitting on the floor with a Quillix child in their lap and a makeshift bandage around their arm, looked up. "Yeah, your point?" You defeated 9 trained mercenaries, with craft supplies." 12, Jordan corrected. 3 surrendered. And yeah, we're going to need to reorder basically everything. The scissors are done, the xylophone's bent, and I think someone bled on the good markers. Kristallix's security team was already securing the mercenaries, but they kept glancing at Jordan with expressions ranging from awe to fear. "How?" Kristallix managed. Jordan shrugged, wincing as the movement pulled something that definitely shouldn't be pulled. "They threatened the kids. I stopped them. Pretty standard Tuesday." "It's Thursday." "Is it?" "Huh. Felt like a Tuesday." Dr. Veleth arrived 6 hours later, when Jordan was finally getting the children picked up by their thoroughly panicked parents. The Quillix xenopsychologist had 17 appendages, all of which seemed to be taking notes simultaneously as she watched Jordan help little Zixik into his parents' tentacles. "Remember," Jordan was saying, "we talked about the glue thing. Not food. I know it smells good, but we need to save our appetites for actual food, okay?" Zixik's tentacles curled in acknowledgement. After the last parent left, with profuse thanks, promises of flowers, and one offer of a warship that Jordan politely declined, Veleth approached. "Mr. Reeves. I'm Dr. Veleth, Galactic Institute of Xenopsychology. I'd like to discuss today's incident." Jordan was cleaning up macaroni. "Sure. You mind helping? This stuff gets everywhere." Veleth found herself holding a dustpan. "Of course. Now, can you explain your bond with the alien offspring?" "Bond?" Jordan scooped macaroni. "I watch them 5 days a week. Of course I care about them. But they're not your species." Veleth's tentacles were writing frantically. "Different biology, different environmental needs, different cultural frameworks. So, how do you form protective attachments across such barriers?" Jordan stopped cleaning. Looked at Veleth like she'd asked why water was wet. "They're kids. They need someone to keep them safe, teach them, help them grow. That's literally my job." "But you risked your life." "Yeah." "For beings genetically unrelated to you." "Yeah." "That makes no evolutionary sense." "Dr. Veleth." Jordan's voice was patient. The kind of patient usually reserved for explaining to toddlers why we don't eat paste. I don't care if they're Quillix or Vrin or Plixie or whatever. They're 5 years old. They were scared. Someone had to protect them. Veleth's notes were becoming frantic. Human forms protective bonds regardless of genetic compatibility. Pack bonding extends beyond species barriers. We'll defend bonded units with lethal force regardless of personal risk. Jordan went back to cleaning. Do you know if the parents have all been notified? And does station insurance cover mercenary damage? Because we're going to need new everything. Dr. Veleth's paper hit the Galactic networks 3 days later. Human pack bonding. A weapon of mass adoption. Jordan read it on their datapad while supervising nap time. Well, trying to read it. Every other paragraph made them snort loud enough to risk waking the kids. Abstract. Humans demonstrate unprecedented capacity for interspecies bonding, forming protective attachments with remarkable speed and intensity. Subject Jordan Reeves, civilian, 0 combat training. Defeated 12 trained mercenaries using improvised weapons to protect genetically unrelated offspring of multiple species. Okay, 9 mercenaries, Jordan muttered. 3 surrendered. Get your numbers right. Conclusion. If humans bond this strongly with other species' children after minimal exposure, military applications are staggering. Human pack bonding extends beyond evolutionary logic, creating soldiers who will fight, to the death, for beings they met days prior. Jordan scrolled faster, disbelief mounting. Recommendation, further study required. Potential applications in alliance building, diplomatic protection, cross-species cooperation, psychological warfare. This is the dumbest thing I've ever read, Jordan said to the sleeping children. I just didn't want you guys to get hurt. Their datapad pinged. Multiple messages. Galactic Council. Formal summons for testimony. Vrin Embassy. Request for medal ceremony. Mercenary Guild. Poorly worded threat. Jordan forwarded it to security. Parents Group. 17 messages of gratitude and 4 casseroles. Human Diplomatic Corps. We need to talk. Immediately. And one more. Flagged priority. From someone identified only as Earth Military Intelligence. Jordan opened it. Read the paper. They finally figured it out. Humans give a damn about things. Welcome to being a galactic incident. Enjoy the paperwork. Dash Commander Bishop attached was a file. Jordan opened it. It was their paper, Veleth's paper, but with annotations, military annotations, strategic applications, tactical implications. Someone, multiple someones, in Earth's military had read about Jordan defending alien kids with craft supplies, and seen it not as an incident, but as a demonstration of what humans could do when they cared. Jordan closed the datapad, looked at the 15 sleeping children, Quillix, Vrin, Plixie, Thorol, all safe, all breathing, all dreaming whatever children dreamed about. You guys are going to get me killed, Jordan whispered affectionately. Little Crystal, not quite asleep, hummed softly. The Vrin equivalent of a giggle. Jordan's datapad pinged again. Another message. This time from Vralkesh, still in custody. You're insane. But you're also right. They are just kids. I'm sorry. Jordan stared at it for a long moment. Typed back. Apology accepted. Also, you owe us new craft supplies. Everything. I'm sending an invoice. The response was immediate. Worth it to learn this lesson. Jordan smiled despite themselves. Across the galaxy, the paper was spreading. Military strategists panicking. Diplomats terrified. Scientists fascinated. All asking the same question. If humans would fight this hard for children they'd met this week, what would they do for those they'd known longer? For their own species? For the galaxy itself, if they decided it was worth protecting? The answer, Jordan could have told them, was simple. Humans didn't need a reason to care. They just did. And that, as the galaxy was about to learn, changed everything. The Galactic Council chamber was designed to intimidate. Vaulted ceilings that disappeared into atmospheric processors. Tiered seating for 200 species representatives. Each seat a testament to their civilization's achievements. Holographic displays showing real-time translations in 847 languages. The weight of galactic governance pressing down on anyone foolish enough to stand at the central podium. Jordan Reeves stood there in paint-stained daycare clothes and the same googly-eye scrunchie from the incident, looking thoroughly unimpressed. Max Reeves, intoned Magistrate Clickstar, the ancient Thoril who chaired the council. His mandibles clicked with ceremonial gravity. You stand before this body to explain actions that have disturbed the galactic order. Kids were in danger, Jordan said flatly. I stopped the danger. Pretty straightforward. The chamber erupted. Order! Clickstar's voice cut through the chaos. The human will answer our questions. A Quillix representative stood, tentacles writhing. How did you override your species-specific protective instincts? Humans are classified as social pack hunters. You should only protect genetic relatives. Jordan blinked. I didn't override anything. They're kids. Kids were in danger. But they weren't your young, a Plixie delegate insisted, their methane breather hissing. Different DNA, different species. So, S.O. The Plixie sounded scandalized. That violates basic evolutionary principles. What military academy taught you those techniques? Demanded a Vryn general, crystals chiming aggressively. That level of improvised combat requires years of training. I work at a daycare, Jordan interrupted. The training was 3 years of stopping kids from eating glue and resolving disputes over blocks. Are all humans capable of this? A Thoril strategist leaned forward. This pack bonding beyond species barriers? Jordan shrugged. I mean, yeah. Most humans would fight for kids. It's kind of our thing. We see something small and helpless, we want to protect it. Doesn't matter if it's a human kid, a puppy, a kitten, or apparently a small Quillix who keeps trying to eat paste. The Kraith representative, scales still flushed with anger, stood abruptly. This human is a weapon. A biological threat. I move that they be classified as military asset and contained. I move, the Vryn ambassador countered, voice ringing with emotion. That this human be recognized as a hero. They saved my child's life. They defeated trained warriors with toys. They protected children. This destabilizes our understanding of species behavior. This demonstrates exactly the kind of ally we need. Jordan pinched the bridge of their nose. Look, I just wanted hazard pay, and maybe some new craft supplies. This is getting ridiculous. Clickstar's mandibles clicked for attention. We will hear testimony from alternative witnesses. The 15 children entered the council chamber like a tiny parade. 3 Quillix, tentacles carefully coordinated. Jordan had been working with them on that. 4 Vryn, crystals harmonizing nervously. 5 Plixie in their mobile methane chambers. 3 Thoril, chittering softly to each other. All of them looking very small in a very big chamber. All of them looking at Jordan with absolute trust. Young ones, Clickstar said gently. He had 60 grandchildren. He knew how to talk to kids. Can you tell us about Mr. Jordan? Little Zik, the Quillix who couldn't stop eating glue, spoke first. His translator made his tentacle speech sound piping and young. Mr. Jordan helps me with tentacle coordination during art time. They're very patient even when I eat the supplies. Crystal, the Vryn ambassador's child, chimed in. Literally, their crystal body resonating. They sing songs during crystal meditation. Human songs are weird but nice. Twinkle Twinkle helps me focus. They remember all our atmosphere preferences, Pixtal, a Plixie child, added. Even though there's 15 of us and we all need different things. They give the best hugs, chirped Tikcha, a Thoril. Even though we're sticky and have too many legs. One by one, the children spoke. About how Jordan taught them, fed them, played with them, remembered their favorite colors and their fears and what snacks they liked and which songs made them happy. They protected us, Zik said, tentacles curling with remembered fear. The scary ones came and Max. Jordan stood in front and said no, and then there was fighting, but we were safe because Mix Jordan wouldn't let anything hurt us. They always keep us safe, Crystal added, every day, from everything. The council chamber had gone very quiet. Jordan, at the podium, was blinking rapidly. Okay, this is unfair. I'm trying to look professional here. Clickstar's mandibles softened, the Thoral equivalent of a smile. The Council recognizes genuine affection when we see it, Mr. Reeves. This is not military conditioning. This is... An explosion cut him off. Vralkesh emerged from the smoke like a nightmare given scales. He'd escaped custody. Somehow. Armed himself. Somehow. Made it into the most secure chamber in the galaxy. Somehow. Later, they'd figure out the details. Right now, he was standing there with a plasma rifle pointed at the children. "You ruined me," he snarled at Jordan. "Made me look weak. Made me question everything I know. I'm taking them. All of them. And you can't—" Jordan moved. Not the careful, measured movement from before. This was instant. Terrifying. Zero hesitation. They grabbed the ceremonial staff from the magistrate's stand. 3 meters of ornamental metal meant for tradition, not combat. Used it to vault over the podium. Landed between Vralkesh and the children before the mercenary could finish his sentence. "You," Jordan said, voice flat and cold, "really should have stayed in custody." Vralkesh fired. Jordan deflected with the staff, the plasma scorching a line across the council floor. Grabbed a diplomat's briefcase from the nearest seat, heavy, reinforced, diplomatic-grade construction. Threw it. It hit Vralkesh's rifle arm with a crack. The rifle clattered away. "They're not even your species," Vralkesh screamed, backing up as Jordan advanced. "This makes no sense." Jordan picked up a decorative statue. Some honored council founder, very dignified, very expensive. Used it as a club. Doesn't matter hit. Their mine hit. And you. Threatened. Them hit. The council watched in horror and awe as the friendly daycare worker transformed into an unstoppable force. No hesitation. No mercy. Pure protective rage channeled into calculated violence. Security eventually pulled Jordan off Vralkesh. Eventually. When there was enough left of him to arrest, but not so much that he'd try this again. Jordan immediately turned to the children. Knelt down to their level, breathing hard, covered in... Well, best not to examine too closely what they were covered in. "Everyone okay? Nobody's scared?" 15 heads nodded. "Good. Who wants juice boxes?" 15 hands, tentacles, appendages shot up. Jordan smiled, pulled juice boxes from their bag. They always carried emergency supplies, started distributing them. "There we go." Crisis averted. "Who wants to tell their parents about the cool council chamber? The ceiling is pretty neat, right?" Enthusiastic agreement from the kids. The council sat in stunned silence. Clickstar finally found his voice. The paper was correct. Humans will bond with anything, and once bonded. "They're unstoppable," the Vryn ambassador finished quietly. "Absolutely unstoppable in defense of what they've claimed as theirs." Every species representative had the same thought simultaneously. How do we make sure humans bond with US and not our enemies? Because a human who decided you were worth protecting would fight the galaxy for you. But a human who decided you were a threat to something they cared about? Jordan, calmly helping children with juice box straws while covered in blood, answered that question pretty clearly. "Motion to classify Mr. Reeves as hero," the Vryn ambassador said firmly. "Seconded," came from multiple voices. "Motion to establish formal protocols for human protective bonding," suggested someone else. "Motion to never, ever threaten anything a human might care about," added another. "That's everything," a Plixie delegate pointed out. "Humans might care about everything." Long pause. "Then we better be nice to everything," Clickstar said. Meeting adjourned. "Someone get MX Reeves some proper compensation. And someone please explain to them that they're now a galactic incident." Jordan, surrounded by happily slurping children, looked up. "Does this mean I get hazard pay?" The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans didn't need a reason to care. They just did. And woe betide anyone who threatened what they'd decided was worth protecting. The council's verdict came down 3 days later, after extensive deliberation, and what Jordan could only assume was a lot of very confused legal debate. "Mr. Jordan Reeves," Magistrate Clickstar announced formally, "this council finds your actions to be justified self-defense in protection of minors under your care." Jordan nodded. "Good. Could they go home now?" "However," Clickstar continued, and Jordan's heart sank. You are hereby mandated to undergo cultural sensitivity training regarding appropriate force levels in multi-species environments. Jordan stared. I use safety scissors and macaroni. How much more appropriate can I get? The council feels I literally fought with children's craft supplies because I didn't want to traumatize the kids with actual weapons. That education and proportional response, one of them surrendered because I threatened naptime consequences. Clickstar's mandibles clicked with what might have been amusement. Nevertheless, the training is mandatory. Dismissed. What followed was a parade of job offers that would have been flattering if they weren't so absurd. Military trainer, diplomatic guard, planetary defense coordinator, personal protector to 3 different ambassadors, something called interspecies combat specialist, that came with an alarming salary. Jordan declined them all. I'm a daycare worker, they told each recruiter patiently. That's what I'm good at. That's what I want to do. I like teaching kids colors and songs and how to share. I don't want to teach anyone how to weaponize craft supplies. The galaxy, it seemed, didn't know what to do with that. New laws were passed. Galactic Directive 1847-Kappa. Human childcare workers were now classified as Protective Personnel Extreme Class. Insurance premiums for human-run daycares increased by 400%, not due to injury risk to children, which was somehow 0, but because of probable property damage and mercenary-related incidents. Jordan got hazard pay. Finally. The human cultural exchange programs started innocently enough. Multiple species, having read Dr. Veleth's paper, decided that if humans would bond with anything, they should make sure humans bonded with them, for protection, for alliance, for having someone who'd fight armies with craft supplies if necessary. They sent humans to diplomatic posts, research stations, military bases, cultural centers. The results were not what they expected. Human diplomat Catherine Wu bonded with the entire Thoral negotiation team she was supposed to be negotiating against. Refused to compromise on anything that might hurt her Thorals. The trade deal collapsed. 3 Thorals got adopted into human families. Human scientist David Kim bonded with his research samples, live Plixi bacteria cultures. Wouldn't allow any testing he deemed harmful. Published 17 papers on ethical research practices instead. Started a bacteria rights movement. Human soldier Rachel Okonkwo bonded with enemy prisoners during a border conflict. Arranged better conditions, fair treatment, and eventually mediated peace talks. The war ended. Both sides were confused. The pattern repeated across the galaxy. Humans bonding with everything, everyone, indiscriminately. Dr. Veleth called an emergency council session. We've made a terrible miscalculation, she announced, tentacles writhing, with academic distress. You cannot aim human pack bonding. You cannot control it. You cannot predict it. What do you mean? Demanded a military strategist. I mean, if you send a human to your enemy, they might bond with your enemy. If you send them to guard something, they might bond with what they're guarding against. They just bond with everything. Silence. So what do we do? Someone asked. Veleth's tentacles spread in a gesture of helplessness. Accept it. And hope they bond with us too. Little Stars Daycare reopened to considerable fanfare, and considerable security, and diplomatic oversight, and military observation. Jordan ignored all of it. They had 30 children now. Parents across the galaxy specifically requesting the human caretaker who fought mercenaries. 12 different species, Quillix, Vrin, Plixi, Thoral, and 8 others Jordan had to quickly learn dietary and environmental needs for. The daycare also had a security team of 8, who Jordan fed cookies to daily, 3 diplomatic observers, who Jordan taught origami, and 5 military strategists, who somehow ended up finger painting every Tuesday. You're supposed to be watching me, Jordan told them, handing a Vrin strategist an apron. The kids need help with the Crystal Garden project. Everyone who came to observe Jordan bonded with Jordan. It was inevitable, predictable, completely unavoidable. Jordan treated the entire galaxy reshaping incident as that weird week at work and moved on. The children, of course, loved telling the story. And then Mr. Jordan hit the bad guy with a xylophone. little Tikcha would chirp during show and tell. We don't glorify violence, Jordan would interject gently. We glorify safety and kindness and macaroni art. Speaking of which, who's ready for today's project? 30 hands, tentacles, appendages shot up. Life returned to normal. If normal meant being a galactic incident who just wanted to teach kids their ABCs. 1 year later, Dr. Veleth published a revised paper. Human Pack Bonding, Reconsidered. Jordan read it during nap time, sitting surrounded by sleeping children of a dozen species. We were wrong. It's not a weapon, it's their nature. Humans don't bond strategically, they bond automatically, instinctively, inevitably, with children, with colleagues, with strangers, with enemies, with literally anything that isn't actively trying to kill them. And sometimes even then. This makes them simultaneously the galaxy's greatest asset and greatest wild card. They cannot be controlled, cannot be aimed, cannot be predicted. They will bond with your children and fight armies for them. They will bond with your enemies and make peace. They will bond with your AI and demand rights for it. They will bond with your ecosystem and protect it. Recommendation: accept that humans will care about things. All things. Everything. Stop trying to weaponize it. Stop trying to control it. Just accept it. And accept. Pray they care about you. Jordan smiled, set down the datapad, looked at the children sleeping peacefully. Zixik with his tentacles curled around a stuffed toy. Crystal humming softly in crystal sleep. Pixtal's methane chamber glowing gently. Tikcha and his siblings in a pile of legs and chitin. All safe. All cared for. All loved. A small Vryn voice. Mr. Jordan? Crystal, not quite asleep. Would you really fight for us again? If bad people came back? Jordan reached over, gently adjusted the child's crystalline structure into a more comfortable position. Kiddo, I'd fight the entire galaxy for any one of you, but hopefully it won't come to that. Now sleep. You need rest to grow properly. Love you, Mr. Jordan. Love you too, sweetheart. Outside, in the observation room, a diplomatic observer was updating Jordan's file. Subject continues demonstrating typical human pack bonding behavior. Shows no signs of recognizing the galactic implications of their actions. Bonded units now include 30 children, 12 species, 8 security personnel, 3 diplomats, 5 military strategists, and 1 station AI they convinced to play lullabies during nap time. Recommendation: maintain observation. Do not interfere. Humanity's greatest weapon is that they don't know their weapons. Let them continue being exactly what they are. The observer paused, then added, personal note. Subject gave me a macaroni picture frame today. It's on my desk. I may be compromised. 3 months later, Little Stars Daycare expanded to 5 locations. The waiting list was 300 families long. Every major species wanted their children in human care. Not for military advantage or political alliance, but because humans cared. Really, genuinely cared. And in a galaxy that often felt cold and calculating, that meant everything. The Galactic Council quietly restructured all defense protocols around one simple principle. Don't threaten anything a human might care about, which, as it turned out, was everything. Jordan Reeves, completely unaware of their status as a galaxy-shaping force, was teaching 15 Quilix children how to finger paint without eating the paint. No, Zixik, we've talked about this. Paint is not food. I know it smells good. It's not food. Here, have a snack cube instead. Somewhere, a military strategist was writing a paper on human protective instincts as deterrent theory. Somewhere, a diplomat was proposing strategic human friendship initiatives. Somewhere, a xenopsychologist was having an existential crisis about whether caring could be classified as a superpower. And Jordan was just trying to get through the day without anyone eating glue. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans would bond with anything. They'd fight for what they bonded with. And you really, really didn't want to be on the wrong side of that equation.